Hi friends, it's Diana here today, and today I'm going to be working on the Gabriella pajama suit. It's a onesie for adults. I have been wanting to make one of these forever, and I kind of was looking to find like a good pattern for it. And so I was excited when I came across this pattern by Copper Creek Patterns. So I had to go ahead and make it. So we're gonna make it today. I think it's gonna be adorable. Let's get started.
All right, let's get started. I've got my markings on my pattern. Like this is my kangaroo pocket, and I'm gonna do those. And then if you're going to do your back flap, you wanna mark that. If you're going to do the full version, we're just gonna basically put it on top. So you will like sew it on there. But if you're going to do the real version, which I'm not doing either or, you will be cutting this out to attach it to make it so it can open. But I'm just doing the basic version. I just wanted to show you how, you can trace it all out and cut it out and whatnot. So because I'm doing the basic version, what I'm doing first, it's sewing up the seam here on the back, right sides together. So I'm matching the back piece, the two back pieces, and going along all the way here along the crotch. Now, if you're doing the faux piece, you will do the same thing here, and then you would just attach it in front. But if you're doing the other version, it'll be a little bit different than sewing this together. You'll sew this part together and then this part together and leave this area open because this will be cut out, and then add the flap in there. All right, so I'm gonna sew all the way down, and I'm doing this with my serger on a stretch stitch or a stretch stitch on your sewing machine. I'm also going to grab my kangaroo pocket piece, and I'm gonna fold these lines here, so the diagonal lines here of the pocket, that's where your hand is gonna go in, so that's gonna get top stitched first. Because then when you piece the whole rest of the pocket onto the body, the front bodice, the other sides will get top stitched down, but this top will not get top stitched down to the body. So I'm gonna go ahead and top stitch that on both sides.
You may be wondering why this is cut on the fold. I mean, yeah, like mirrored instead of on the fold, so that it's already have a line in the back. And that is because your back has a curve to it. So you want to be able to follow that curve by cutting it into two pieces and cutting them in a little bit at the back. If you just cut straight, then it won't give you that nice curve that your back usually has. All right, in case you're wondering, this is my cover stitch. I use this for top stitching. This is not a serger. It looks like a serger, but it's not. It's just a top stitch. If you don't have a cover stitch, you can use some kind of zigzag stitch, triple stitch, or any kind of stitch to top stitch on your sewing machine that is still a stretch stitch. What a cover stitch does is, if you look on this side, you can see that it's got that kind of stitching, like chain stitching, and on the front side it's just like two straight stitches, or you can do three, but I only have two set.
All right, if you're gonna do the kangaroo pocket, once those that one slanted side has been top stitched, see, because you're gonna stick your hand in there, then the other three sides you're gonna fold, actually four sides, you're gonna fold up and steam, because you're going to attach them to the front bodice. So I'm just steaming the bottom, and then this side, and then the other sides. If your fabric's stubborn, kind of like mine, and wants to fold back, you can always use like steam-a-seam or hem tape to hold it down. Some people even just use like a glue stick, but I don't use a glue stick because I don't want it to gunk up my machine. But I know that people have done that before, and I just clip, right now I'm just clipping it. But they all are going to get top stitched down once we sew it to the body. All right, now we're gonna grab our front pieces, we're gonna open them up, and we're going to attach our pocket. Now, as you see, I marked the inside, I didn't mark the outside. So I'm just gonna place a couple of pins here to kind of help me guide where that is. That way I can match it up. So I'm gonna put my pocket, actually I guess you don't have to fold that. I don't know why I folded this front side, because that is gonna get sewn on when you sew on the zipper. So I don't know why I steamed that. Let me steam that back out. And I was right, I had said 3 sides and then I did 4. Okay, so make sure that this is the top of the bodice, where this is where my arm side is here. This is the front of the bodice. So you're gonna place it so that the front is up, and you're gonna grab your pocket, because this side where the hand's gonna go in, it's gotta be towards the top. So you have to make sure that that's lined up correctly. And then we're gonna line it up here with the clips, with my marks that I marked. So your pocket gets lined up where it's supposed to be nicely. And then we're gonna pin it to the body, and we're gonna sew over, up, not here, because here's where your hand's gonna go in, but over here too. And I'm going to sew this up with my cover stitch. And if you don't have a cover stitch, you can do a double needle, triple stitch, zigzag stitch, whatever you want to do to attach this on. When you get here to the corners, I'm going to go all the way up. We can back stitch here to reinforce, so that way it's not going to come apart, and the same here on this side right here. And then we're going to do this on the other side as well. So that will be one side of the pocket, and then we're going to do it on the other side of the pocket. So I'm going to match it up and make sure it's even. So we're not gonna, you want them to be the same on both sides, because you're gonna close this together, and if it's not the same on both sides, then that will be not good. By the way, if you're wondering what I'm using for fabric, this is a French terry fabric I got from Walmart. It was a bundle deal, and I think I got like 4 yards, and I'm making a size 10 for me. So my bottom is usually large. I usually make a size large, and my bust I usually make a size medium. But with this pattern, I just went for a size large all around, just because I wanted it a looser fit. So we'll see how it's gonna go. I wanted to use this fabric first because this is my first time sewing up this pattern, so I wanted to make sure it turned out really well before I used any more expensive fabric. But even so, I think this fabric is so pretty, so I think it's gonna be really cute. Okay, so I think it's lined up pretty well. Okay, so now I'm gonna sew here, here, and here. So top stitch those on. All right, friends, time to work on that front zipper. I've got my invisible zipper. I'm gonna use the facing for my zipper guard. So I've got that, and I've got my front bodice pieces. So I've got my front bodice pieces placed right sides together, and we're going to sew this little bottom crotch area here to the mark, which is right by the pocket. We're gonna sew that with a stretch stitch on my sewing machine. That way we can split it open for the seam allowance. So I'm gonna use a triple stitch on my sewing machine. You can use triple stitch, zigzag stitch, lightning bolt stitch, any kind of stitch that you want that's a stretch stitch that is gonna leave the seam allowance open. So you don't wanna use a serger for this step. So we're gonna go up here to the mark. My triple stitch, it just looks like 3 little stitches together. Make sure to back up your stitch so you can lock those stitches. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and open where you just made that seam. You're gonna open up that seam flat, and we're gonna flip our bodice over to the right side because we're going to attach our zipper. Make sure that your pocket is even here and everything. We're gonna start with one side. We're gonna open up our zipper, and we're gonna place it, well, I guess you don't need to open it up right now, but I like to kind of open it. You're gonna place that raw edge of the zipper right at the top, so it matches right there. And then we're going to sew it with your zipper foot, and you're gonna come as close to the zipper as you can. You can also use, if you have a invisible zipper foot, but I don't, so I'm just gonna use my regular zipper foot. You want to come as close to the zipper as you can. We're going all the way down. You're going all the way down to that spot. So sometimes I like to kind of move this piece down so that way I can see exactly where I need to stop right here. So let's go sew that up.
Again, we're trying to come as close to the zipper as we can.
All right, now that that one side is done, we're gonna grab the other side and we're gonna flip the zipper so that it's again touching right side. So you kind of flipping the whole thing over. Sometimes I like to kind of go around the other side, like come around the other side like this and go around, but that gets a little bit more confusing. So we're just gonna go on this side and flip this zipper over so that it's facing right side and it's not twisted. Right side on the other side. Again, start from the top and work all your way down. And if you want to, you can go ahead and first zip it up and make sure that it's even on the pocket and on the other side, because you want the zippers obviously to be even. Or you can go ahead and baste the zipper on first, the one side, and make sure that it's all even before and then do a regular stitch. So I'm turning it around so it's right sides here, because then we'll have to flip it later, but we want it to be right side against the bodice. All right, let's go sew that on.
Move this foot over to the other side.
All right, once that's done, you're gonna flip the zipper towards the back. Okay, when you zip it up, it should look just like this. Everything should be nice and even. If you're a little bit off, then you can go ahead and fix it. I am a tiny bit off, just a little bit, but when I top stitch it, I'm gonna make sure that I top stitch this evenly, and I think it should be fine because it really is just like a hair off right there. Anyway, all right, so once we flip that over, we should be able to zip it up and it should look real good right there. Okay, and there's my zipper. So now I'm gonna do the zippered guard on the back. And to do that, I'm gonna grab my facing here, my zipper facing, and I'm gonna place both sides, right sides together, and sew the curved edge together. I am gonna use my serger for this step. Sew them up. All right, so now we're gonna grab this placket and turn it right side out and give it a little steam. Poke out those rounded edges. All right, so we're gonna grab our zipper facing and we're gonna place it right along the edge here to our zipper tape on the left side and the allowance. So you're gonna sew them together. Do not attach it to the bodice. Make sure you move the bodice kind of out of the way. And I'm gonna finish that off with a serger. This should come right to the end of your zipper. As you're gonna see that I have a little bit left over here. It's because I had a little bit of a longer zipper than was asked for. So once I sew it closed, I'm gonna trim this bottom part out so it's not touching my skin. The reason for this facing is so that your zipper doesn't touch your skin when you're wearing it. This is what's gonna touch your skin. So it kind of gets the zipper out of the way, and then when you open this zipper tape, it doesn't like, it's not gonna get in the way. It's gonna have this facing here that's gonna be nice and keep you safe from pinching zipper. All right, so now that that zipper is, zipper guard is attached there to the seam allowance and to the zipper, we're gonna flip it over and we're gonna top stitch on this side of the zipper. So flip that allowance towards, flip that facing towards the other side of the zipper, the right side of the zipper, and we're gonna top stitch this side right here. We're just gonna top stitch all the way down the zipper. Then we make sure that this flap is over that way and we top stitch the other side. So if you want to top stitch both sides at the same time, you can, but just make sure that you're moving this out of the way. You don't want to top stitch that facing to the zipper side. So you may want to, if you want to open it up and top stitch it, This is gonna get top stitch on this side, yes, but not on this side. So it might help if you open it up to top stitch. However you wanna do it, just kind of open it up there and top stitch. You want this seam allowance to be down, and you can top stitch it right to that right there. So let's go do that.
Here at the bottom, I'm gonna go back and forth with a little stitch here to close up that zipper.
All right, so now our zipper's done, and when you open it, you will see that, well, my guard should be on this side, but you will see that your guard is right there. So it'll keep from like touching your body, you know, when you're wearing it or whatever. So that is what that's for, and I love that. Okay, so now we're gonna finish putting it together. This is what it looks like on the other side. We're gonna finish putting it together by grabbing our back bodice, and we're gonna match up our shoulders first, right sides together, and sew them on with a stretch stitch. I'm gonna use my serger. All right, now we're gonna open up those shoulders and sew our sleeves on. Grab your sleeve, make sure you're matching. I have marked my front and back. Make sure you match your back with your back, right sides together. Match up the center. And then this is the back, so we're gonna match those up, go all the way around, and sew with a stretch stitch. And do the same on the other side. All right, let's go sew those up. All right, now we're gonna grab our bodice and match them right sides together at the outer edge and sew, and then on the inner seam as well. So here's the armpit area. We're gonna match that up and go down the sleeve, and then go down the side of the leg. Do the same on the other side. While we're at it, I'm also going to match up the crotch seam here and go along and sew the inner side of the seam. All right, friends, I am going to be doing the collar version of it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this collar and I'm gonna face it right sides together and sew the rounded raw edge of the collar. If you're doing the hood, the first thing you would do is to go ahead and find and add grommets or a buttonhole to the area where you're gonna add your drawstring. If you're doing a drawstring, you're going to place the liner with the liner right sides together and sew the crown of the head, and do the same thing with the outer and outer, and sew the crown of the head. Then you'll flip one right side out and the other one, you'll fit one hood inside the other one and sew the face edge, flip it right side out, and then sew the 1-inch seam allowance where the drawstrings are gonna go. But I'm not doing that, so I'm just gonna go ahead and sew this collar. And at the same time, I'm gonna prep my cuffs. Make sure the stretch is going one way, and you're going to sew those short raw edges so that the stretch is still going this way. I am going to do the footy PJs because I think those are adorable. So I may go ahead and prep that as well. All right, we're gonna grab the bottom of our foot here, the area that's the curved, and we're gonna grab this area, not the curve, but the top curve. And where our half is, there's a mark on the pattern, and we're gonna attach it right sides down onto the bottom of the foot area. I'm gonna do that for both of them. So I'm gonna go prep this and prep the collar and prep the cuffs. Now, if you're doing cuffs with your ankle cuffs, then you would do the same thing. You would prep those cuffs as well right now, if you're not doing the footy pajamas. All right, so we're gonna start with our collar, which you can flip right side out. Look out those curved edges. and give it a steam. All right, now I'm gonna find the back of my neckband and mark that. Grab our bodice, and here's our back. So we're gonna match up our back right sides together, right at that back seam, and then go around towards the front. So in the front is gonna come flushed here with the front, and then you will stretch out to fit. And you can quarter if you want. I'll show you. You'll grab that half and quarter it. You grab the neckline, go from the front to the center and mark that quarter here. That's your quarter. So then when you come over here, this is gonna go right there in the quarter, and this comes all the way to the front. And we're gonna sew that on. And then our cuffs, we've got, here's our sleeve. We're gonna grab our cuff and fold it wrong sides together. Mark the half, mark the other half, mark the half of your sleeve, and then match up those halves. So the seam to seam here, and then the half here. And then you're gonna stretch the cuff to fit as you sew it. And do the same for both cuffs. Now for our feet, we're gonna have to turn it inside out. So let's do those first and come back to our feet, because we're gonna have to turn it inside out to sew it on.
Okay, here at the beginning, I'm actually gonna go to my sewing machine and stitch it on first and then come back to my serger so this doesn't move, because if it moves off, then it won't be right in line. All right, so I'm just gonna baste here at the neck area, this little area here. So in case it moves when I'm trying to sew it up, it won't move when I'm trying to sew it up. Same on the other side, and as you can see, I moved that facing out of the way so it's not gonna get caught in there and get in my way. Then you can go ahead and take the pin out and look and see how that's gonna end up. So it's gonna end up right there, flush right there. And you are gonna have this little piece here, which you can do binding at the end, and I'm gonna show you what I like to do.
All right, so here you can either use some binding to kind of hide that seam. You can fold that seam down. I like to just kind of fold it down and in like this, and that kind of hides that. And then you can top stitch. So that kind of, you fold that in here and you go around and top stitch the neckline all the way around to fold that seam down. Same on the other side, tuck that serge edge over and tuck that down, the seam allowance down towards the bottom, towards the bodice, and top stitch it down. And then that way it's gonna get sewn down like that. Okay, and you can go all the way around the neckline to make that neckline look nice and sharp. Now for our legs, let me show you what we're gonna do for our legs. That's an arm. I'm gonna open up the zipper a little bit more so we can get those legs out without having to worry about our other area. Okay, so here's our feet area, and we're gonna match the sides and go to the back. Match the sides and go to the front. I like to just go ahead and mark it. It makes it a little bit easier, because essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our foot area. And if you have it marked already, that's great. I don't, so I'm gonna fold it in half and mark the top and the bottom. And you gotta look at them and make sure you put them on the right side, because they're different, like shaped feet. You see how they're shaped differently? So you gotta look and look at your garment and make sure that they're on the right leg. So I just kind of put it on top in front of me and figured out which leg is which by which way, you know, like this is the left leg because it comes this way and the right leg goes like that way. So you want to make sure of that before you sew it on. And then you're going to match up the top and the bottom, and then you're going to fit it all in, all the way around. You know, this part right here, I'm always like, oh, that's gonna be hard. And you get to this part and you're like, that's really kind of like the easiest part of the whole situation. It's so easy. I got from Boho Fabrics just the other day a bunch of sweatshirt knits, and I am already like thinking that I need to make one of these with the sweatshirt knit. I think it would be amazing, cozy and warm. So nice. All right, so let's go sew that up, and I'm gonna go ahead and go top stitch this down with a straight stitch on my sewing machine, and then we'll be done.
All right, friends, we are done with this make. This onesie is so cute. I love how it fits. It's really true to size. I love the length. It fits really nicely. I love that it has this facing on the zipper, so it doesn't, the zipper doesn't touch my skin. I made this one with really lightweight French terry. So it's really, really light, so you could wear it for most of the year, but I think I really want to make something with a thicker, make it with a thicker fabric, so it's a little bit cozier. But if I do, I probably will do the cuff version, which I like that it has the ankle cuff version, so my feet won't get really hot. But with this, like they work really, really well. I think it's super cute. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't. I'll add a link to this pattern in the information box below, so go grab it, come back and sew it up with me, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!